So here we are for number live stream. Excuse me. And today I was thinking that I could go ahead and work in Lady Mechanika. Now, I'm not sure if anybody is going to be interested in a flip through, but I can briefly go through this book and we can kind of see some of the pictures that are in it. I definitely got this inspiration from this book, or as far as getting this book from, I think it's the Modernist Colorist is the name. And I've been wanting to do something along these lines for quite a while and finding the right book. I started it in another book, kind of this graphic novel look. And I know that most of the pictures are done and more like they use Copic markers, and the artwork is much more extravagant than just with my pencils. However, recently I have actually purchased a few little Copic markers, and I'm kind of picking up the alcohol markers, but I'm not huge into them, and I also don't know that I'll ever go to like wanting the full set. What I do like about the Copics and about other alcohol markers is that you can get really light colors, and that helps you with putting in a base coat. So hello, Robin, how are you? Thank you so much for joining, and everybody else that is. I decided today that I was going to do a bit of coloring. I've been wanting to get into this book. It's called Steampunk Coloring Book, Lady Mechanika, and I saw it on, and I think this is the right channel, the Modernist Colourist channel. He did a review of it. It is steampunk, and hopefully this is not offensive to anyone, but there is a lot of guns throughout. I think that's kind of part of the steampunk. But she is one tough, powerful lady, and was really inspired by her. So what I thought I would do is we can go through and just look through some of the artwork. Now, I believe all of these artwork comes, well, I know it comes from the graphic novels themselves. And so it's kind of nice because you can go out and get inspiration. So if we look on the front here, our very first one is the front. Now, this book has great paper. It is only one-sided, as you can see. It's a good weight, and it's also perforated all the way down the edge, so you can easily rip it out and be able to work on it individually. And I have to say, I mean, that it's a great perforation for that. So we've got some different pictures in here. I like the artwork of steampunk, particularly in graphic novels. And so I think that there's some great challenges in this book for me, and to be thinking outside the box. I also think there's some great opportunities to use some different type of media. So she's in several different pictures, all of them quite powerful. I have not read the series. I don't know much about the series, but I do love the artwork, and it might be something to look into. And again, for most of these pictures, you can go out and actually find, the artist's version of them that they're coming from. Oh, she looks very intense there. So again, I started playing with this last night because I've been wondering what to use in it. I was just saying that I have purchased some Copics, and I'm very excited to use them as base layers. So rather than going and planning on buying all of them, I also have going to be using tonight also some Spectrum Noirs that I picked up, I think off of Lily, of all places. And again, just kind of playing around with them as base coats. This paper, it will bleed through, but it is only one-sided, as alcoholic markers do. But the paper is so nice in this book. It really, really is. So, got all kinds of your dirigibles and your airships and your dastardly villains. At least he looks kind of villainy. Maybe I'm making assumptions, and I shouldn't make assumptions, should I? Maybe he's a very nice man, just with a dastardly look. I'm not sure. There's a lot of, because it is steampunk, there's going to be a lot of metal, and I'm envisioning tons of different colors of the metal: brass, copper, gold, silver, all of them. So we've got some great action pictures. There's a lot of Some of them that have a lot of black already put in there, which is fine because it's just adding to it. But one thing is he does really unique. Actually, here, let me look up. See, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, it's going to be really hard. The glare is really, if you can see right here, there's a pattern around the edges. Well, that pattern continues behind her in gray. So a lot of his pictures has like this pattern in the background. And I'm hoping to be able to do something similar to that in this. So this is the one that I started last night just to play around and kind of get the idea of what works in the book. And I have settled on using my Faber-Castell, and I don't have a full set. I've been buying them individually, but I have a combination set now because I did get the gold set, the gold Faber set. So I have some that are the gold Fabers, but because the colors are so similar in both sets, it really doesn't matter, and they really behave fairly similar. The gold Faber goes down a little bit more like a polychromos, whereas your regular polychromos ones kind of go down a little bit differently, in that there's a lot of layers. But this book really encourages you to do layers. And so what I've started to do is I do a base layer in my marker, and then I go back in and really start layering and layering. So what I thought is I am wanting to start this picture right here. Let's see if I can get her straight. You can see her. There she is in all of her glory. And again, as you can see, it does bleed through. So I will be putting in. And so I'm going to go in and just do the layering of my Copics first. I'm going to focus on her right here. One thing I have to go look at is I am assuming her hair is a dark color. However, because all the other pictures you see of her, the headscarf area covers so tightly you can't see her hair. So I'm not really sure. So I might have to do a little research to make sure what color. And, you know, again, when you get these type of coloring books, you don't have to do them exactly, you know, but I find it kind of as a challenge for me to try and achieve those colors if possible. So what I thought I would start out today is, and just as always, I've already made a swatch for what Copics I do have. So as you can see, I don't have tons, but I have a lot of the like skin colors. But what I like about these colors too is they're great for being the basis of browns and things like that. But most of them are the lighter colors, and that's what I'm trying to keep because I'm really only using it as a base color at this time. So all I'm going to do is go in, and the first layer, like I said, is going to be, oh, I'll bring it back out. Dun, 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 dun. Boy, back and forth, back and forth. I'm going to start with my pale thistle. That is my lightest color. And then I'll come in with my wisteria, and then the viola, or here would probably be my last one. Those are my three. I kind of like the purple, even though we're going for a blue, it's kind of a bluish gray, and the purple kind of helps me get there. But again, the paper is really great. Now, I have to admit, out of the Spectrum Noirs versus the Copic blending on this paper is a bit more superior. I can get a more even. And that's one reason why I decided to go with some of the alcoholic markers, because if I use, you know, my Crayolas and things like that, they'll keep those striations. We'll see that in there, and that's kind of frustrating for me because I don't want the color striations, especially if I have a big swatch like this. You can't see that very well. Very light, very, very light. All right. So I've been wanting to do this type of coloring for a while. I sure do envy watching people that work Copics, and you can see what colors they can get into. It's really, really nice. But, you know, I still like my pencils a lot, about anybody else, but I do my pencils for all that layering and for, you know, I'm not a big one about doing things really quickly. As you can tell, I'm a fairly slow colorer. And that was one of my concerns doing a live stream is how slow I really can be. And boy, can I be slow. Definitely. But I have to say, tonight's weather outside is absolutely perfect for coloring. We have some rain coming in. It's cool. It's already dark. It's all cozy. So when I got home, I immediately started working on the other picture again because I kind of needed a break from all the Halloween and stuff, witches and all that. I kind of needed a break. That was another thing because I wanted to try something a little bit different. And I was surprised to see how many things I actually like. I've actually colored quite a lot, which this month, which I'm surprised. So I'm just going to take my wisteria and start putting in some shadows. This is just like what I do normally. I like coming in, doing a light over color, and then come in and start putting in where my shadows are going to be, and it helps me. And this is not a strong color, which is nice and helpful for me. So I can just kind of start seeing where I'm going to do them, the shadows. There's some great lines on this. Yeah, Robin, you were. I mean, I did sugar skulls. I've done the little witch. I've done a zombie. Let's see, what else did I do? And then one weekend, I kind of started a bunch of kind of spooky looking um, pictures, and it's good. But and I'm a seasonal color, and it's the month. I don't know that I'll do a lot. Now, there's one or two other witches I would have liked to do, but I'm just not feeling it. Instead, I was looking for a kind of scary, tough woman, I guess, and this lady is definitely fitting the bill, but it still has kind of a creepiness to it because it is the steampunk. So sometimes, but after doing Hermione, I mean, we use the phrase when you've had a book hangover. I have a coloring hangover sometimes, where I get done with something and I'm like, whew, and I was really into it. Like I mean, that was a coloring marathon for me. For me to stay on one picture and to get it done in 3 days is just crazy. But I really was enjoying the picture. But then when I got done, I was kind of like, okay, what do I do next? And I kind of just had that moment, that feeling of like when you have a really good book that you're reading and you finish it, and you're like, wow, that's like the greatest story ever. And you just kind of wanted to keep going, but at the same time, you probably couldn't actually. You can't handle it to keep going. You needed it to stop. Well, when I got done, I'm kind of lost because I know a lot of people are what's supposed to be, is these using autumn colors. And I have my grapes that I need to be doing, my grape leaves that I need to be doing in Villasnova, I think is what it is. Or Zimla Snova. Yeah, Zimla Snova. And I do plan on getting back to them, but it's not quite November quite yet. So I thought I would try something else. And this is a book I recently got here at the house. Now I did get the little gnomes book, Gnomes in the Neighborhood. But I mean, I'm going to step back for a little while because I have a lot of ideas with that little book, but I want to see what I'm going to decide on. And I just recently went out to the artist herself and went and saw some of her paintings and stuff because she does, just like with Jasmine Beckett, Griffith, those are from her artwork. And I love her vivid colors for that gnome book. But so I'm enjoying watching everybody else talking about it. And I think we're going to see a lot of people coloring in that gnomes book. So I wasn't quite ready to start that one, at least not quite yet. All right. All right. So I've got some color in there. Boy, it's good. I thought it was a better. When I show the other picture, it's a lot more vivid. Well, see, but this shows you. I mean, I'm starting out that, and then you go to something that much more vivid. So I need to have some time on this. The other part, though, I am going to go ahead and do her face. So again, this is one of the things that I really like about the Copics is for covering areas, large areas, and then it being smooth because that's and so I'm gonna go ahead. Now, I do suggest any of your alcohol markers that you do go ahead and swatch them, because what comes out when you first start, you know, coloring with them, when it dries, it's a lot different. And I am not an expert. I am literally using these as just a base, not really, kind of as a guide. So let's see how I do with it, but I really don't know how I'm gonna be able to keep color, to use if I'm going to get better at it, or if I'm going to use them for anything else. But right now, I'm really happy with the colors I have. I'm always looking for those really light colors that I can kind of use as a base and then color over. Then I do the pencils. Now, I have not used my polychromos for a long time. I've done with the gold fibers recently, just doing some testing, and I do like them. I like them a lot. In fact, I've just mixed them in with the polychromos I have, and so that's my favorite pastel set. And I know it's extended my set, but there were some repeats, and so I've been kind of like comparing them, and I just don't really see a difference. But maybe that's just in my hands. That. All right, so we get a little bit of her face. I'm going to go ahead and see. I'm going to do a little bit of shadowing. Now, this is the Spectrum Noir. Now, they don't have mine don't, at least the ones I have, don't have a bullet, or I'm sorry, a brush tip. They only have a bullet and the chisel. So, which is fine. But what I find is I'm not as apt at being able to, and a few little shadows here. I'm not as apt at blending if they're not in the, if it's not the brush. So I'm not going to touch her hair until I go out and do a little bit more research to see that. Now, the other part is to know here, these are completely gloved. So if we look back here on the front page, they're completely gloved, her hands. So I'm going to go ahead and put down my color for her gloves, which I'm a little bit nervous about doing. So I'm going to do just a little bit of spot here in the dark. And yeah, I think that's a good color. All right, so now I just grabbed, what is that? It's E13 Light Suntan is the color. And this is just going to be the base. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and put all my colors in, and then I'll go back in with my pencils. So, no Robin's here. Robin, what are you reading? Robin likes to have the coloring channels on while she reads. So what are you reading? I don't know if you're close enough to the board, or if I just interrupted you. I actually had to give up on a book. I kind of got tired of it, so I have to get rid or give up on it and start something else. I've got a couple to finish. I haven't been really grabbed by any books for a while. They've been hit and misses mostly. Yeah. I'm going to blend out a little bit better to see. It's a little streaky. It's funny, I was looking at the picture I was doing before. The other thing that the artist has a tendency to do when you have these, and there's a lot of these single little pictures, he doesn't draw their arms. The arms are never there. It's kind of an odd look in some of the pictures. Very, very strange. Ah, so you're getting a little pre-reading done before the edits. Ah, so I can't even imagine doing that. And the reason why I say that is because I get annoyed with books when they're published, and if they have, mistakes in them, or if the, whenever the whether it's the stories kind of wandering, and I'm like, you didn't really need to have that in there. I don't know how I could read one before it was actually, completely edited, but you know, that's I mean, I just read for pure pleasure only, and I couldn't I when I get hung up on those mistakes and things. I probably wouldn't be a very nice editor. Not that I know grammar, but I know what doesn't sound right. Maybe that's, yeah. I mean, I know a little bit about grammar, but I just know more of what doesn't sound right. So let's see. We have the other glove. So I'll just do that. I wish this had more of the detail of the gloves kind of in it, like on the front page. Because at first I was like, I'm confused. Is she wearing like, how a lot of like all the witches that I've seen recently, they have that little armbands or whatever. I thought, is she wearing some type of armband? But then I looked at the front. It's like, no, because like you don't see fingernails. You don't, And I'm like, nope, she's got gloves on, which makes sense. She would. This little buzzard thing over here is going to be kind of interesting. I almost wish I could do like zucchini kitty for this part over here, but I don't know that I can. But I would love to because I could just see it done in with those with like the distressed inks. So, but I don't know that I'd be able to do it. I need to. I've already started practicing because I love what she does. If you get a chance, if you haven't went out, just type in Zucchini Kitty. Her stuff is really beautiful, and she uses distressed inks very, very. I don't know, just so well in the coloring books, and it's helped me look at other type of whenever you see a drawing with that many fiddly bits, how to really bring them out and kind of highlight on them, and I love that. I think that's great. Love it a lot. So she's a great one to watch. All right, let's see. So now I need to get that hood to get as dark as what I had over here. And this is quite a process, but again, these are fantastic working together, the Faber-Castell Polychromos and the Goldfaubert as well. They're really great working together. So I'm just going to start that process, and it is not a quick one. So let's see. Gotta find my little guy. Yeah, Zucchini Kitty has some great, great stuff. All right, so basically I'm going in. This is just going to be 9201231. So it's the number 231, and it's the cold gray 2. So I'm choosing the cold gray because we're going for more of a blue look eventually. And so blue, of course, is a cooler color. If this was going to be, over here, if I was doing it, I would go for more of a warm because the browns or the reds are the warmer color. So that's why I'm doing that. Now I'm just putting a pretty light first layer. I've already put the color down with the Copics, and what I like about doing that, even though it's hard to see it as far as a color, is I won't have the white coming through. Also, I've got some of these dark shadows already in place, like here. So anything I put over it, it helps darken it down without me having to, layer upon layer upon layer, which I still do. Typical me. Still have tons of layers. I don't know how exciting of a live stream this is going to be because this is a kind of big spot, but I want to get the hood correct. And I normally always, when I color, do one element all at the same time. And that way, I mean, there's been a few times when I've done it for my YouTube channel where, I only do like half and then finish it out the second half filming it. But a lot of times I'm very nervous about doing that because I want the consistency. So right now I know how much pressure I'm putting, and I know how much I'm going to do. Everything's going in the same direction. And if I do this entire hood, I'll be able to do it. I'll know the layering, how I layered, and it'll be more even all the way across the entire hood. So and this one is going to have some, needs a little bit of a highlight. So I'm really not sure what I'm going to do for the background. I mean, there's a lot going on, which is great, but I want to try to do that kind of. It almost looks like a wallpaper behind his, and sometimes it looks like it's like a wood wall. Other times it looks like old-fashioned wallpaper that's just kind of in the back giving you texture. And I'm kind of like, I wish I had a stencil that I could use. And I just don't think I have any stencils that would do it correctly. In fact, I'm pretty sure I don't. I used to have stencils a long time ago because I used to use them when I used to scrapbook years and years ago. Ah, in comes the Modernist Colourist. I'm so excited you're here. Look, this is totally your doing. This is totally your doing. And I'm sorry, I can't remember what your first name is, but this right here, I purchased it because I saw it on your channel, and I started coloring in her last night, and it's a wonderful book to color in. Deb, that's what it is. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I'm really bad with names anyway. But yeah, so Deb, thank you so much. Definitely, I love your channel because you show all kinds of different books, and this one caught my eye, and I've been wanting to do kind of a steampunk or graphic novel looking coloring and see if I could challenge myself. Get kind of that dark beautifulness that they do. So thank you so much. This is a great, great book. Boy, she's an intense lady. This lady Mechanika. And I've been having a lot of fun going out and looking at the pictures and stuff, the artwork from this artist in this series. Some amazing stuff. I tell you what, those people that do comic books and graphic novels and all of that is just, and video games. Looking great so far. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I just got started. I'm taking the biggest element that I can right now and kind of just going over it. But I've already used my Copics to build at least the bottom. Well, I don't mind being called the book nester, but my name's Rebecca. So it's nice to officially meet you, Deb, other than just seeing you and watching your channel. And I see you pop into other streams, and but you've definitely got me on this one. All right, so all right, so now the only problem that we have now is that the gold fiber, when I use them, all I have is the numbers. But the numbers coincide with the names in Faber-Castell. So I'm just going to tell you, this is 143, and it's blue of some sort. I'll go in, and this is where I really start adding just a little bit of a hint of blue. Melissa! Oh, it's so nice to see you, Melissa. So Melissa Colors All is another one I've been watching, and unfortunately, because I work, I very rarely get to see anybody live, though I do sneak in sometimes. Sometimes I do. I sneak in and for at least for 30 minutes or so while I'm having my lunch, if it's during work. And then other days, which, hey, might be happening sooner rather than later, when I get snow days and I get to stay home. Oh, those are my favorite. I was saying that the weather was perfect for coloring this evening because we just got a rain and the temperature has dropped again, and we might even get snow on Saturday. It won't be anything that'll stick, but that's way early. Last year we didn't get snow until December. So yeah. All right, Melissa, go tuck those kiddos in bed. Sweet dreams, kiddos. So yeah, so it was really nice. The rain was pattering on the roof while I was coloring and messing around. Let's see. So all I'm doing now is taking this, it's a bit of a blue, and I'm just adding those shadows again. And see, this is what I'm saying, is I can do it kind of light because I have that purple underneath it, which is nice. Lovely. All right. Let's see. So we're going to go over here. I'm going to turn her. So everybody, you ready? Spin, 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 just so that I can get to her a little bit easier. Now, something I catch myself doing when I color is I always seem to go in the direction of the artist's lines. So, you know, if this is going up and down like this, I kind of follow that. And I think it just gets, I mean, my stroke's looking more of a striation, but it gets me focused on it, of what direction. You know, as I build later, I don't have to follow that quite as much. Go over here. We're slowly getting our blue, but I'm kind of going for a blue-gray color. Hey, May. Now, wait a second. Between Dev and May, what time is it where you guys are? Thank you so much for coming. Goodness. Because you guys are both over in Europe. I mean, Dev, I believe you're in England. And May, I'm not sure where are you coming from? Can't remember off the top of my head. I'm old. My memory is like kaput. Though I have learned to write a lot of things down, so maybe that's it. You know, you teach yourself to write things down, which means you don't put them into your memory. So, you know, which came first, my memory loss or the fact that everybody's watching while they're in bed. All right, I love that. I don't know if I'm a good bedtime story, but I really appreciate you being here and checking out what's going on. That's very, very kind of everybody. I'm very excited. Okay, let's see. Let's see, where are we at? All right. So if you've watched anything, you know I'm going to do 50,000 layers of stuff because that would be me. So now I'm going to go in with a little bit of a gray. This is also a gold favor as well. It's number 233. Again, remember that these. Oh, so May, you're in Norway. Well, that means yeah, you guys are up and still watching. I'm impressed. So over in Norway, May, is it a little bit chilly by any chance? Y'all have any prospects for snow? Oh, well, there's Zucchini Kitty. Oh, thanks for jumping in. I was just talking about you. So I don't know if you can see. Can you, if you can see this, the bird? It's like a vulture. Um, I think it's just screaming for you to come over and do that in your using your distressed inks. I will hope to try it, but I don't know if I'll be able to do it. I'll have to try it off camera because I definitely don't have the technique down. But I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's like a perfect thing for the way that you do with your distressed. So I was just talking about that. It is a pretty creepy bird, though. There's a bigger picture of it back at the beginning. Yeah, he's something else. But if you go out and look at the pictures, how the artist colors it is just amazing. I mean, it really, for all that detail. But, you know, because graphic novels are usually pretty gritty and dark and intense dark colors. So you don't, you know, I'm hoping that I can do it somewhat justice. So here I'm just kind of going over with another gray. It's number 233, adding those layers upon layers. Parts of Norway already have it. You're saying it's not as chilly. You know, our October was really warm. We had some, and then it's just kind of dropped off, and we've had wind. We didn't have as great of a fall up here in Vermont, just because trees all changed at different times. We still have trees with green leaves on them that haven't even changed. And then we get these windstorms that we've been getting, you know, and it blows any somewhat dead leaves right off. So it wasn't quite as vibrant. It's still pretty, and I'm glad that we're in it. I am kind of somebody who really likes cool weather anyway. I'd much rather be in layers and everything else. So I'm looking forward to that. Definitely. Definitely. But this possible snow, and it's not even November yet, that's a surprise. But they have been saying it might be a pretty rough year. Winter-wise here in the Northeast, we might be in for a bit of a doozy. So we'll have to see. Does it look like she's staring at you guys? I know I feel like I'm being stared down. I don't know if I want to do her eyes right now. But if I did her eyes, which I need to go kind of look to see how they're done, I think it'll be too intense. She's an intimidating lady. Hi, it's got to be. And Beth Wood's here in the house with her kitty cats. Meow, meow, wow, wow. I love it. So, her and her kitty cats. Meow, meow, wow, wow. How funny. So, all right. So here we go. Still doing that gray. I'm kind of building from here because, of course, these will be the darkest parts of the whole thing. So I kind of have a tendency to be a little bit heavier handed over there than I am in the rest of it. I'm going to have to break out in a moment, color the whole thing in blue, which will be really riveting because guess what? we're about to go into the realm that Rebecca does, and I just can't imagine what it's going to be like on a live stream. And this is where I start doing my little tiny ovals. So I can't usually, because normally what I would do is put on some goofy music to go with whatever's going on, and I do a fast forward. So that's my thing with live streams. That's why I was worried about starting to color on live streams, because I do color rather slowly. And getting through the whole thing takes a little while. All right, so I am going to go ahead and come in with the blue. Which one is it? Let's see. I've got, this is, I was going to say, this is Indigo Dunkel, but in English, that would be just dark indigo, number 157, and again, in your polychromos. So this one is kind of the blue, the ultimate blue that I end up with using. And so I will start, and again, my little ovals that I do are so that I don't get a lot of lines and striations, and I can get a smoother kind of color. But I have to be careful because I don't want to push down too much, because I definitely don't want to disturb the tooth in this paper. But again, this paper is lovely, and it really is taking to the Faber-Castells really well. So I'm really appreciating that. So I'm just going to go over the whole thing. I mean, literally, this is where I would speed it up. So, so silly. So silly. All right, Beth, you're handing the kids off. Tag team, huh? I only had my one son, and it was both my husband and I were working for most of his life, and then about his junior high years, I didn't have to work, but I went back to school, and so, and he was at school for most of it, but it was always fun whenever it was like, I get a night off I go, now once I started school, I just have to stay up late and study, was mainly what I had to do. All right, so May, this is actually one that Deb inspired. He showed this on his channel. It's Lady Mechanika. It's a steampunk coloring book. This is the second one. I saw it on Deb's channel and was like, I really want to give this a try. So I did a little bit of a flip through. We've got some menacing, dastardly beaded people. But as I said earlier, maybe I'm misjudging him, but he looks pretty dastardly. And some great intense pictures overall. So I started working on this one last night to see what pencil I wanted to work in it. And oh my gosh, it's like I said, it's taking these Faber-Castells beautifully. It really is. And so I've done a base of some Copic markers. I have just a few Copics. I showed this earlier, but I've kind of, with just entering in with alcohol markers. And these are all the Copics that I own at this point, and they're all kind of light colors because I'm kind of just using my markers right now as a base. And so we've used a couple different ones down here as well. It's a beautiful book. It's really different. It's going to be challenging for me to color it. I've never colored in something like this. There is some bits that are very detailed, but yet it's kind of hard to see the details. But boy, if you can go out, this artist, let's see his name, Joe Benitez, Benitez. You can go out, just put it in Lady Mechanika in your Google search or whatever search engine, and I think you'd be really amazed at the artwork that comes up because it is from a graphic novel series. So this one I really, really I like, but I've been intimidated. But I thought, you know what? This is a perfect thing to put on Livestream, something that you've never done before, right? But none of my coloring have I ever done coloring to the level that I'm doing it now. And what I'm trying because of what I see all you wonderful people putting out there. May you've got me completely back into bringing out my ink tints. And in fact, I just got the new Gnomes book and Gnomes in the Neighborhood, and I'm thinking ink tints might be perfect in that book, at least even. And again, I use them a lot of times as a base and then go back over with my pencils, but I always run back to my pencils. But I feel like I can control, and I really don't know how to use markers very well, and I am in a learning curve. But that's how we do it. We just start it with little steps, right? But yeah, May, you have me thinking about my ink tints. I almost thought about them for this book, and I think they would have worked really well in the book. But I wanted to have a little bit. I wanted to see what I could create with pencils, and because I recently got some Copics, I was like, oh, I can use my Copics, and this because it's a one-sided. So if it bleeds through, it's. I would say, this is it's not a cutesy book. There is a lot of steampunk armament in it. A lot of them. There you go, Robin. Thank you. Yeah, he's amazing. I mean, as far as what I'm seeing, and I like getting the color. So again, you definitely don't have to color it the way that you see it, but I'm kind of looking at it as a challenge for a guide to see how close. And it also makes you kind of learn your color combinations with your pencils. And I don't use Faber-Castells as much as I do Christmas, and of course my Crayolas now. So this is going to be an interesting one to see what the blends are for these different pencils. But yeah, just really thrilling stuff here to watch. I'm so sorry. I really probably should have picked a different piece to start on in here. But I do like to kind of do the bigger pieces because if I mess the bigger pieces up, I'm probably not going to do the rest of it. Is that wrong or what? When you make that kind of a mistake. Oh, so okay, so yep, that gnome book. I was like, I went out to the artist of that book, the Gnomes in the Neighborhood, and saw her artwork and was like, yeah, the intense colors of the ink tints, that's definitely a way to go for that. So. In May, you tried them out on Sunday, and you already started a page with them. And that awesome. That's good to know. Well, I like it because it's one-sided as well, and like I said, they just look like they would just scream ink tints for sure. All right, so you're saying all your pencils are working great. That's why I did kind of a quasi test page here doing this one, because you never know, because different books sometimes can't handle all of your different pencils, and of course because some are oil based, some are wax based, some are more of a layering on top of layering, others are a blending type pencil. Like I always feel that with my Faber-Castells, they don't necessarily blend. It's almost like the layering is what's making the different colors all coming through versus an actually blending or morphing into a color. So, goodness, yeah. So as you can see, we're starting to go more of that gray blue color, trying to introduce it, because the original is really dark, just a hint of blue. And I think this is great too, because I I don't know about you, but have you ever went back and you start looking at your pictures and you kind of like, "Ah, I use the same color combination. They use the same colors." And so by doing something where I'm kind of looking at an artist's version and trying to mimic it. Now, I'm not going to say copy, but mimic it in some way because these are not going to be the same colors that he comes out with. Um, it causes me to learn new blends and putting different colors together and seeing how they work. And I like that because I can then use it in another book that I'm doing. Boy, Melissa, you're efficient. Book read, teeth brushed, kids in bed. Check, check, check. I love it. Oh, so you have the first one in here. So I just went ahead and got number two because I thought whenever Deb did the review, the first one had, I think, more black in it, I think, or maybe these in here were a little bit simpler. But now that I've gotten this one, there's a darn good chance I'll be getting whatever ones I can get my hands on. But uh, again, I need to make myself actually color. That's for sure. Uh, See, I know it's weird how some of these. I mean, all of our books come with a certain kind of paper, and I do. We always say test your materials in the back of the book or whatever, and or your whatever you're going to be, your mediums, whatever you're going to use. And I think it's really important because I just think some books are better. Like I do like my Prismacolors and my Joanna Basford colors better than my Faber-Castell. Now, Faber-Castell are still good in it. I just prefer. Oh, Melissa, you got it down to 15 minutes, huh? That's military precision right there. That's what that is. 15-minute bed routine. But routines are great and kids do like them, except for when they just don't want to go to bed. But most of the time, if they know what's going on, they know what's expected. That's awesome. Heck, I wish mine was 15 minutes. Oh, hi, Nick and T. Thanks for popping in. Awesome. Now, it's funny because it was something I noticed last winter. So as I've gotten older, my routine to get to bed, I remember when I used to be young and you splash a little water on your face, you brush your teeth, you get in your cute little short t-shirt, nightie, whatever, and then you just jump in bed. No, it's not like that anymore. It's ridiculous. So now it's, do the 15 layers of slathering stuff. There's wash your face, but I have to wash it multiple times. And then it's, exfoliate your face. And then it's put slather this serum on and put this serum on. And then while that's going, I have to have my hot water bottle warming up so that I can warm up my bed. And then I need, I need the electric kettle on to warm up for my tea as well. So then I go and get the water bottle, I put it in bed. Meanwhile, I'm flip flopping around. Then I go and brush my teeth, and then I make my tea, and then I have to go find, my book I want to read. And then it's go, darn, I got to go find my glasses. Where are my glasses? I go and find them. And it's like, oh, I better go get my cell phone and put it next to the bed if I'm using it for the alarm. Set the alarm. Then sit there and read. And then before long, I was like, oh, I got to get up and go to the bathroom before I go to bed. It's like, blooming heck, when did it take me 45 minutes to an hour just to get into bed? And then, of course, there's the call at 2 o'clock in the morning when you have to go to the bathroom. So I just remember I used to be carefree. So 15 minutes, woohoo, I'm Melissa, because my bedtime now is longer than it ever was when I had my son and was getting him ready for bed. I'm exhausted. Just flop into bed totally exhausted. That is exactly what happens every time. So I don't know whatever happened, why it takes so long. It's all that slathering, though. Oh, May, awesome. Thank you so much. Have sweet dreams. Thanks for popping in. Definitely. Probably the only thing I'll get done tonight is this hopefully the headscarf that she's got on. Good night, May. See, that's one of the reasons why I have to get off at 8:30. If I want to go to bed by 10, I got to start the whole going to bed routine. Blech. It's ridiculous. uh, oh well. What's the alternative to not growing old? Not being alive. So I'll take the growing old, thank you. And there's some perks to it. Some perks, definitely. All right. So I figured this was going to take a while. Me and my little one, little squiggles. What I am going to do is kind of this. I'm going to stop here for a moment because I do want a little bit of a kind of a shine over here. So I'm going to come back and start doing this other side. So she's going to twist again. I apologize, but it just, so this is where I was talking about not needing to do necessarily the striations because now I'm just kind of getting that blue in there. And I'll do it, but I like doing it in little circles too because it also helps make it appear a little bit smoother so you don't have the lines. That's definitely the other reason that I do it. Definitely, definitely. So I've got a few people that are in bed, so I'm assuming not coloring necessarily. Do I have anybody coloring? And if so, what are you working on while you're listening to me jabber away and do teeny tiny monotonous little ovals over and over again? It was funny. I was watching Sammy's color and chat with Sammy today, and she was talking about how. So she's working on the gnomes in the neighborhood, and when she was working on it, she was talking about she's going to do it all in pencils, except for she might do a little bit of watercolor at some point. But she says so it's going to take me a long time, and she was just kind of saying, but there is times whenever things that do take a long time. She really likes her meditative, and for me, that's exactly what doing some of this is. So, oh, Beth, you're giving money to your neighbor to go buy those lotto tickets. Oh, can you imagine all the coloring books and supplies you could buy if you won? Ah, that's something to think about, isn't it? So somebody was having a discussion the other day. Some friends of mine were saying they're having a discussion trying to decide if they won the lotto, would they, just fly first class all over the world, or would they buy their own airplane? And I immediately said, oh, I would buy my own airplane in a heartbeat, just so I didn't have to go through all the checks and all the security stuff and, be able to have what type of food I like on my plane. And, almost be able to go to drop a hat and then not always have to drive to a big major airport. You could have it in an area that's not quite a major airport, so it might be closer to home, definitely. And you wouldn't have to pay for parking. But I guess if you win $1 bazillion, you have to worry about that. Somebody's got to win. That's right. But isn't it amazing, Beth? That so it was. I mean, imagine all the tickets that were bought for the last round, and so all the numbers that were, automatically generated, numbers people picked, whatever it might be, and nobody got the numbers. I mean, it just really shows you what the odds are when that happens. Um, I think that's really crazy that nobody won that thing. Because, even at our little tiny country store over here, there were people in line buying tickets. And so, I mean, we're not heavily populated. It is literally a traditional Vermont country store. And there they were. And it was funny because I never even noticed that we had where you could buy lottery tickets there until just, this past weekend whenever everybody was in there. And I didn't know about what the lotto was at the time. So it's funny because I work in a school, so that's usually a huge topic of interest in a in a school. Teachers are always talking about if they won the lotto, what they would and wouldn't do. Would they give their notice or not? Melissa, your mom keeps saying she wants to win the lotto. No, let's really say it. Melissa, she wants you to win the lotto so that then you can take care of her too. So, you go spend the $6, $7, $8. Well, and my husband every once in a while for the people who work for him, he'll go out and he'll buy lotto tickets for them. And I'm like, is that really smart? Because then they're going to quit. And then I'm like, well, hopefully you're not buying them just for the people you want to quit. That might send a wrong message. Melissa, I have a guest room. What more does she want? Oh, I bet she has a list. If she's anything like my mom, she'll have a list of other things that she wants. All right, so that was riveting TV there for you guys. All that coloring. What's she going to do next? Well, guess what? It's really exciting what she's going to do next. Next, she's going to come in and let's see. Going to come in with a gray again. Woo-hoo. I'm going to darken it up a little bit more. Number 233. Yeah, exciting gray. I promise you, there is a method to all this madness. But it's layer upon layer. That's all we got. Layer upon layer upon layer. Crazy, crazy stuff. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know why I'm doing this picture on a live stream with how detailed it is. I should have just done this one because at least it's a little bit smaller and y'all might see some progress. I'm sorry. But I saw this picture and I was like, oh, I get to do the bird. I get to do it. I know. So that's not a sword. That would be a telescope. Telescope? Yeah. Like a handheld telescope. So that'll be kind of cool. And then I saw these great gears around here. I thought, oh, that'd be kind of neat. And then trying to figure out what I'm going to do for the background. I love the layering so much, Melissa. That is my thing. And I do think it's interesting, especially once you get to a certain point, you really see it start changing over. Um, and I like it because picking out colors and stuff can sometimes be not stressful, but it's something I have to keep my mind on. In this case, because I know I've already picked the colors, I like having a big spot to just kind of keep going over and over. And then I'll get going with more of the detail. But like I said, I think this hood for her, or the part of of her costume it's important. If I get this wrong, then it's going to ruin the picture. So trying to get it correct and do it first is important. At least for me, it is. But yeah, this paper and these are really layering up really well. I'm really excited about that. I'm just going to go over here. So all the parts that we're trying to be shaded and dark, I'm just going to really be going over again and again, because that's one thing in these darker kind of graphic novels. They have so much dark shadow. And the black that they've done in here is great because it's going to give it that kind of graphic novel feel already without me having to go in and put the black in. I think as a colorist, one of my challenges is that, if you look at the pictures, especially the ones that are done with Copics and, or even, that are electronically or not electronically, what am I thinking? It's digitally. Thank you. That was the word. I'm showing my age. Electronically colored, digitally colored. They can get those lights and dark so strong where you almost can't even see, like this would be all almost black. It's hard to do that with pencils. Because by the time that I'm ready to keep going, either I've burnished the paper or it's just so filled, I've put as much layers as the paper can handle. So that often causes a little bit of frustration, but This one's doing pretty happy with it so far, but I do have to be careful about putting too much. All right. Let me go back in, start darkening up just a little bit more. So I'm just going back in with that 157, the dark indigo. I probably look like I'm coming from all directions. So what I color on is, I don't know if anybody here has seen, I did a little thing about like my coloring cart. And so I have that desk that's elevated. So I'm actually standing up, which is really nice after a day. I've been in front of the computer for most of the day today writing. And so I sat quite a lot. But that's why I can walk around the desk. So that's why you keep seeing me come in from all different angles. So, I like going back in, yeah, with my markers at the end as well if I need to. I was wondering about that because most of the time my markers have worked. In fact, what's kind of funny is my triplets, when I've used them to kind of come in and darken up, they actually, especially with prismas, almost like they melt the prismas a little bit and cause even more blending to happen, which is kind of neat. But yeah, for the really dark spots, I almost have to go and get my markers to get that. Now, for some reason, I do not have a black Faber-Castell, which is weird because I have bought a set of Faber-Castell and I would assume a black came with it, but for some reason, I can't find it. So I'm having to use my Prisma black, and it's doing pretty well, especially once I get enough layers of the Faber-Castell to kind of add for the blending. So it's been working. So I've been able to use that for some of my really darker shadows and intensity. I'm not coloring her hair down here. Get inside of the material. Yeah. It's like we're not gonna. So I have to go and research to see what her hair color is. I'll do that. And a lot of the other elements, once we get into them, should not take near as long as this. So this will be the longest. I probably should have done this on probably should have just went ahead and done it like my normal filming so that you guys didn't have to see go through all of this. But I am hoping to be able to work on this a little bit and kind of go through, because what I like about it is I can kind of go over some of the golds, and that's what I'm envisioning the gears to all be golds and coppers and a little bit beat up gold and silver and maybe even a grayish, almost like a tin kind of color. So I'm hoping that's going to happen as well, and that's what I like about all this. But I tell you what, I keep looking at this and I'm like, maybe I need to go practice and see if I can do Zucchini Kitty's method with her, because I have some distressed inks because I went out and got them. I had to go get them. She makes them look so amazing. Hey, Jen. Aw, thanks for popping in. It's good to see you, Jen. Yeah, I'm trying to do Tuesday evenings when I can, because I think it's kind of quiet. I don't think there's a lot of other streamers going on Tuesday. And what's nice is I have some people even from England who pop in, and May over in Norway. She was with us for a little while too. Bless her heart. I was their Betty by time story. Yeah, doing my typical slow process, but So we can start seeing that it's starting over here. You can see that it's starting to kind of do that change and start getting that little bit of that darker look. I like working from the dark to the light. And one of the reasons I like doing that is because you can always add to a light, but you can't take away. So if I darken this all down, then where do I have to go? So the more that I darken this up and get this really dark, then I can come back in and finish out this top area a little bit more. Definitely. Yeah, I think Tuesday nights work pretty well. I was looking so forward to coming home. I felt like the kids do at school. You know, you kind of watch the clock. And I had a meeting after school, as you do. And I was excited. I mean, I was happy to do the meeting, but at the same time, I was like, I just want to go home. And then I've been watching the clock since I got home to make sure my camera's set up, make sure this. It's like I keep getting nervous before I go to stream, but it's a good nervous. It's a definite good one. It's not a woo. And I mean, nobody's making me do it, but it's a chance to kind of chat with everybody, and I really like that. You know, because I've watched so many of y'all, and I try to leave comments and everything, and because I'm not able to watch during the day typically because I'm supposed to be working. Uh, that like while I'm watching you, I catch myself like saying things out loud that I wish I could type in the moment, and then I leave these long messages that like reference every 30 minutes of your stream. So like, I might reference one thing that you did at 1 minute and 45 seconds. And then I'm referencing something you said at 10 minutes and 32 seconds. And, it's kind of all over the place, but it's like, yeah, I want to answer that. So it's nice just to have you guys here and be able to, do a little bit of a chat and also tell you, after all these years of watching people for as long as I have, I sure do appreciate all the work and everything that's going on. And for all of those that are watching and, giving us comments and being supportive, it makes it so fun. It makes it a real feel of a community. This is also helping me be a little bit more regular, and I'm getting a lot more coloring done. I was saying that earlier. I did need to take a break from all the Halloween kind of stuff because I've colored quite a few different pictures for Halloween, so I needed a little bit of a break. And this book, I think I got. I ordered it almost right after I saw Dev talk about it. I've been wanting to get into it. What I like about it is even though it's the artwork from his graphic novels, it's not a story itself. So there won't be, anyone that has this kind with a cloak on, I probably will do in this color and stuff just because I have the color combination together now and I like it. But what's nice is that there's other costumes, there's other characters that are in this book as well. So it's not like, I need to keep only these colors and keep coloring it the whole way through. That's kind of nice. But I like the repetition too, because once I get a color combination, I want to use it. Yeah, coloring, well, doing the live streams, and I don't know, I've been on a coloring roll this month. I've been listening to audiobooks a lot in my car going to work. So I'm getting through books and listening and having some great stories. And then of course I listen whenever I'm just, kind of coloring away if I'm not watching a coloring chat, though I am so behind on my coloring chats that I've been listening to those. And it's funny because I'm trying to listen to them, but at the same time now because there's so many live streamers, you also want to read the chat to the side. I always like when you're sitting there, you're listening to, whoever, Sammy or whatever, chatting away. And then all of a sudden you hear something that's referenced. You're like, what just happened? So you go back and you have to look in the chat to see what was going on. But that's, isn't that normal though? At a party, you're chatting away and then you overhear a conversation. You're like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? All right. Yep, so she's darkening down. It is interesting to see it up on, I mean, um, compared up on my screen, because it looks a little bit darker here where I'm doing it myself. So now, if you've noticed, even my ovals have been kind of going back and forth, and you can kind of, so what I will do is my subsequent layers, I will probably, well, hopefully, if I, because guess what, people, there's a lot more layers, so we aren't going to get this done, or I don't know. Well, yeah, I'll still probably be playing with it a little bit. But that's why I kind of like why I think the Faber-Castells are working so well in this book is because as they layer, your tone changes, but they're not mixing yet. There's not a true change or a new color. If this was Prisma by now, I think there would be. But what I like is this one's actually gives it more of like what the graphic novels where you get that undercoating kind of coming through. I like that. I like it a lot. Um, like I said, it really, these pencils are working very well in this book. So you guys need to let me know if the lighting is okay. I have to do, my house does not have the best lighting in it. I think a lot of people will talk about this, but since I'll be coloring at night, I can't even use natural light to kind of boost. So sometimes I wonder if it's coming okay. And I do try to have it where you can see what I'm coloring. My hand's not covering it, but if you have any problems, so Beth, it looks good to you. Okay, good. That's it. Not too washed out. I mean, it's and what's funny. So I'm doing my setup, and I'm trying to figure out. And I'm like, oh gosh, I can't be that far from my computer because I won't even be able to read chat. Because again, old lady's eyes. It's like, oh no. So I have to be near, but I'm not sitting at the desk. All right, so let's see. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead, and this is the only non-Faber-Castell. And this is going to be just the Prismacolor black. So I still don't understand that. I know I have to have a black. Oh, I bet that was really loud. I just dropped that ting. Sorry, that was really loud. I like did it probably right next to the microphone and didn't realize it. Sorry. Anybody was trying to go to sleep, that might be a little bit difficult. So literally coming in and using this black to really start bringing it that color, deepening it and getting it dark. This all should be pretty dark in here. So one of the things I do with any of my backgrounds, my night skies, I never have it just all black. There's always a tinge of some other color, but I'm using this to deepen the blue and get it even a little bit darker and to get more shadows in there. And and then I'll go back over it with the blue and some of the other colors, and they're actually playing very well together, the Prisma black with the Faber-Castell. So that's nice. I was a little bit nervous that they may not. Though I've used them in other books quite a lot, actually, for the night skies. When I was showing my old Joanna Bassford stuff that I've been, my garden, secret garden that's at night, that's always a mix of Faber-Castell and Prismas because I didn't have that many to start with. So it's funny because I keep trying different pencils or introducing ones. And I'm like, oh, I love these. And I guess it's just, I'm getting more adaptable with my pencils. So all of them I like. Like I said, I have not used Faber-Castell in a long time. And I'm enjoying using it, definitely. Let's see. So the shading on her is going to be a little hard with that. I feel like I've almost made her bald up here. She doesn't need to be bold. But I would think that'd be the shiniest spot of some sort. Because I'm not taking this as at night. I don't know. I'm thinking she's in the desert looking whatever she's looking for the baddies. Because I assume she's a goodie. But you know what? Graphic novel, she could be an assassin. Ooh. Yeah, those eyes. Don't look at me that way. Stop looking at me like that. It's got an intense stare. She really does. Not ready to do her eyes yet. And I just did some base color on her face and on the gloves here. That was my big thing. I want to make sure I remind myself that they are all gloves, because if you look at this picture I showed it earlier, those are all gloves, and rather than think that that's the end of the glove and that's her finger peeking out, so I had to really. I was like, nope, just color them brown so that you don't forget, because I could totally see me doing that. And then go, wow, she has no fingernails. How bizarre. And it's like, well, no, she has no fingernails because she's wearing gloves. Do y'all have those kind of conversations when you color with yourself? Obviously, I do. Obviously, I do. All by myself. Absolutely crazy. I have tendency to do that. So I used to play Tomb Raider video game. And I think that's why this is also kind of appealing to me. I love the steampunk style. I have not read this graphic novel, but it does make me very interested in it. So maybe I'll need to order me one or two. I read a graphic novel a couple of years ago, and I liked it. It just kind of, it goes so quick. But I love using them with my kids at school. So my kids that have, language difficulties and challenges and stuff, graphic novels are great because there's a lot of information conveyed in a picture. And kids are more apt to be interested in that, and it's a way to get them into reading that isn't so heavily reliant on them being able to read as much. And there's so many clues and things. There's clues for them, and and there's a lot to talk about. But we aren't even going to get talking about the artwork, and I think that's what I just get fascinated with, is the artwork that I see in these graphic novels. They're in comics too, the shading, and that's kind of why I ever wanted to really color in the first place. I think I shared this a long time ago in one of my videos. My dream when I was a little kid, I wanted to work for Disney and be a colorist. Didn't know that's what they're called, or animators, actually. I don't know, but I used to think there had to be somebody, because they used to do the cell animation. Somebody has to paint that. Oh, Melissa, that's fantastic. The Magic Tree House, about one every week. Melissa, that is fabulous. And I love reading, and when I have students that have difficulty, or they just automatically say they don't like reading or they don't like books, but yet I know they have great imaginations, and I know that it's about finding that. But that is so great. That's fantastic. It's we got to meet them where they're at. If we give them stuff that's too tough, reading, it's the same as like even coloring or anything that we start out. If we start out too high level and we can't do it well, we just tell ourselves we can't do it. But finding something that works and introducing, that's fantastic. I'm the book nester, so obviously reading is really, really important to me. But yeah, it's fantastic to kind of and reading with your kids, which Melissa, you're saying that you did your book with them. Asking those questions while you're reading the book to see that they're picking up as you're going along, because we don't always naturally know to pick up our to be listening for certain information that we have to hold while we go through the rest of the book. And if they're slow readers, that hurts their ability to also comprehend, because they're spending so much time trying to figure out what the words are. So graphic novels are great for teaching story elements Anything with a lot of pictures is great to talk about story elements and kind of what the clues are, so that then they start listening for the clues when they're being read to. There's a lot of support for all of that. And I have a class I do right now, which we are actually doing a mystery that is short chapters, and they get to kind of pick where they go. All right, so now I'm just going to go grab that indigo again, and I want to start darkening up this. Actually, you know what? No, I'm fitting to you. I'm going to grab this. It's a light blue, and wow, it has. I think it's 140, maybe. I don't know what this is. That's weird. It's got all the little letters, and it's been stamped twice, so I can't read it. All right. Um, let's see. So this is just a light. I'm going to go in and use this to kind of, and so this is what I'm talking about. I'm going to change the direction. So I've been coloring kind of, let's say this way, even though I've been doing circles or ovals, I'm going to start coming out, and I'm going across it. And this again is to make it appear a little bit smoother and less likely to have those striations, because I want to kind of make those eventually disappear. So I'm just going to bring this in, and this is going to be my undercoat, and then color more sideways. Now, if anybody's having difficulty reading at all, the more context clues, the more they feel they're independently reading, and you have to boost their confidence in their ability. I promise you, if your kids are in school, they know that they aren't on level with some of the other kids in school. And that is a hard thing, because your kids are aware of that. So anything we can do to help boost their independence while reading. So if it does have pictures, you talk about the pictures. The pictures are clues. And what that teaches a kid is that the information in a book, whether it be a picture or in the words, is something to retain. And there's information that helps the story move along. So, simply giving, for age wise, not everybody develops at the same rate. She probably has wonderful abilities in other areas. And so it's all about confidence. And they want to. I mean, think about your really little ones when they're 2 or 3 and they grab the book and they start trying to read it. And they're either doing nonsense, or suddenly it sounds like, a 3-year-old can read Dr. Seuss. I know I did. I did like at 3 or 4 years old. I picked up Green Eggs and Ham and started reading. I turned the pages, everything. Well, I had it memorized. I heard it so much. But I felt like I was reading, and that was a desire. So that's one of the things that's really, really tough is, kids want to be independent, and when they're not, kind of know it. Then we start having kids who give up, and they kind of start learning that somebody else will do it for them. So finding where they can be successful and then moving from there is always kind of the key. But again, with anything, if you asked me to, go and use Copics over this whole thing, I wouldn't feel successful, because I've not done that and I've not used them enough. I might not even have the right ones to be able to do it. Really won't feel successful then. I won't have the right tools to do it. Oh, talking about what I read and putting notes, I do it. Actually, that extra tactile input of writing notes is obviously you're a tactile learner, and that helps. The thought of having to write notes also puts it in a different frame. You're helping your brain file it away in a way that you can get back to it. So every different way that we can, put information. Some people are very good at audible, but for me, I listen, but my hands have to be busy. I mean, look at this even. That's why, I doodle even when I'm in meetings and stuff, but even the doodles kind of remind me of what we were talking about at the time. So it's another input. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for jumping in. Good to see you. So yeah, there's right now. So see how I'm kind of going, and I'm starting to try to like get it to blend a little bit more. So we put a little bit more blue in there because that was a lot of gray. And then I'm going to go over the black with this blue a little bit. And again, trying to, because that black, the Prisma black really does do lines when I use it. I'm going to put a little bit of this blue over it. Yeah, when I went back to school, Melissa, whew, boy, you go back when you're a little bit of an older lady, it's something else. It really, it you have to learn really quick what you need to do and taking notes. And I would retype my notes because every time I touched them in some physical way was another chance for it to get firmly into my head. And that was the only way I could do it. To this day, I do. I write a lot of things down. And the writing it down is probably the biggest input that I actually get, as far as, because when you write something down, you're not only using, or so you're listening to something, but then when you write it, you have to process it in a much different way because now you're going to write it into, cursive or print or whatever, and going from, to a graphic version of the information you have in your head or that you're learning is a whole nother process, and you have to think of it in a different way. Exactly, Beth. Let her learn to enjoy and be successful. That is wonderful. Um, yep, I and even whenever I'm reading books now, I go back after I get done with just my pleasure books and I put them in my journal and I've marked things along the way. It helps me remember what I've read. I mean, it's a huge thing. Plus, it's nice to revisit it when you can. All right. All right. Well, we've gotten to about 8:24, so I'm going to hop off at 8:30. We started, I think we put quite a few layers. It's a little bit darker than what it's showing up on the screen, guys, I promise. But it's getting close. I am going to take this, I kind of fiddle with it now at this point and just keep putting the black and then go back in. I'll do one more round of this indigo, particularly across this area because it's just a little too light for me. I want that to darken down. So, and this will be a very slow, teeny tiny process, but I will probably do that off camera. And then when I see you guys, hopefully next Tuesday, let's see, I should be able to be here on Tuesday. With her. Maybe we're going to be on, I don't know what we'll be doing. Maybe I'll probably have at least one glove done. So you don't have to see me go through that. And then by that time, hopefully I've researched her hair and her eyes. I can finish up with her face because that's always the fun part. And then I'm going to try Zucchini Kitty. I'm going to do a similar picture and see if I can get the technique. And maybe we'll do or get the Zucchini Kitty technique with some distressed inks over here. Or I just think it would be perfect for this. So I need to go watch more of your videos. That's what it is. Definitely. All right. So I think that's going to be about it. Thank you so much, everybody, for jumping in. Oh, thank you, Zucchini Kitty. I think we're going to have to try to do the buzzard in your way, definitely. It's a really interesting book. I did a bit of a flip through beforehand. It's got some of the great steam ships. Just some really lots of flowing capes, which I kind of like that, which is great. And definitely some really strong ladies. Again, I apologize if the armament that we see in here bothers you a bit, but there's a lot. Thank you so much, Robin, for coming in, and Beth too. Both of you, I really appreciate it. And we'll chat with you guys definitely next Tuesday. Oh boy, don't know when that one's going to be done. If that one's ever. Wow, that's an impressive piece. So again, this is the book that we're working in. Deb over at the Modernist Colorist definitely did a beautiful walkthrough if you're interested in those more often. Everybody have a wonderful night and keep coloring those pages, and thank you so much for stopping by. Have a great week.